What is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new Brawl Stars video. Today, we're going to be talking about a short list of things that I think Supercell need to be adding to Brawl Stars before we go global. Now, this is by no means an official list or anything like that. It's just what I personally feel like needs to be done to the game before we do see a global release, and then a few things I want to see before global release, but probably isn't necessary. Either way, let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright guys, so to get this started, I do want to mention what I think is probably the most important thing to add to the game before we see global release, or, right when we do see global release, which is the Supercell ID. For those of you that don't know, Supercell has an ID system they use across all their games. It's a recent addition to all their games, but definitely has not been added to Brawl Stars at this point in time because it's in soft launch, and I'd imagine they don't want to take the time to sort of integrate that into the game without knowing for sure that they're going global. With that said, we did see Android release right before they went on vacation in July, and definitely think that they're going to be introducing Supercell ID to the game very, very soon, probably with the next update, maybe with global release. We'll have to see. I don't know when that's going to be, but I do think that Supercell ID is probably the most important thing, mainly because, you want to have static accounts from game to game to game, but not only that, be able to play your account on either an Android or an iOS device. Right now, it's not possible to play the same account on an iOS and an Android device, so it's kind of important that they do add this so people that have, multiple phones, multiple devices, for instance, if I got an Android phone for my next phone because, I got a 6S at this point, it's about to die, it's definitely going downhill very significantly. I've got some issues with it, so I'm going to need a new phone. If I decide to get an Android, I want to be able to link it to my iPad, which I use for recording videos every day, so I can still play Brawl Stars when I'm out and about, but, if I'm home recording videos, I can use the optimal thing to give you guys the best gameplay experience and the best viewing experience, which will be my iPad. So that's definitely very, very important. Now, moving on forward, we have a few other things that sort of pale in comparison to the Supercell ID, in my opinion, but are still probably necessary before we do get a global release. So, a few more brawlers and a few more maps. Those are two of the main things that I think they're also going to be doing with the global release update. Now, do I think this is entirely necessary? Probably not. It probably isn't. Let's be completely real here. I mean, I think they could drop the game exactly as it is now, and it would be an absolute hit everywhere around the world. It would be at the top of the App Store everywhere, and probably absolutely ridiculously popular, a lot like, Pokemon Go or Fortnite or Clash Royale when it came out. Things like that, Clash of Clans. Lots of other games where it went viral, basically, was at the top of the App Store and stayed top grossing, top of the free apps for a very, very long time. So I do think that they could do that right now if they wanted to. With that said, they probably are going to be adding in a few more brawlers and a few more maps, maybe a couple maps on each game mode, maybe a few maps for specific game modes. I think we're probably going to see a showdown map or two. But either way, I do think that we're going to be seeing new content for existing players as well as new content for new players. So obviously, they're going to be focusing on making the early game experience as good as they can. But at the same time, you want to engage all of your, veteran players that have been around since the beginning, and even your players that have been playing on Android for a few months by the time it does go global. So we're probably going to see some more brawlers. We're probably going to see some more maps. And that's probably going to be a pretty safe bet, I think. They're gonna want to add for the new players and the old players alike, more brawlers into the game, make it so you can see more and more different teams, that the meta is going to be very, very different, very varied, I guess is a good way to put it. And I think that the new maps just freshen things up with game modes that we probably already are very familiar with and enjoy a lot. Now, we've got one more thing to talk about. I want you guys to guess what you think it is, because I think it's probably pretty obvious at this point what I'm about to say. Replays and Brawl TV. Now, replays are definitely something that we've wanted for a long, long time. Obviously, since day one, many of us YouTubers, many of us content creators, many of us that really enjoy competitive gameplay in mobile games, we all wanted replays. We all wanted a sort of TV system where we're going to be able to watch, pro players at the top of the game and see, the nuances to their gameplay, see how good they are, at different characters, different brawlers, and generally be able to get some tips from that. And really, guys, I do think that that's going to be one of the other essential things, and even, removed from what they want to add to the game before global release, like something that just is objectively essential to the game before global release. Replays in Brawl TV are very, very important. For those of you that don't know, Supercell has a fantastic replay system on Clash of Clans and on Clash Royale. It's very notable in the mobile gaming communities for being one of the most intuitive, one of the best replay systems in, mobile gaming as a whole. So really, you expect something like that from Brawl Stars. Now, with that said, obviously, it's definitely coming a long time after the initial beta release of the game, the initial soft launch of the game. So you're going to expect it at some point, but at the same time, it's something that's very complicated when you have singular movement of each character. So, for instance, in Clash Royale, you place a character on the screen, and then that character just does the thing that it's going to do. And it can be replicated by, a coordinate and just identifier that's going to identify what character it is and what that's going to do in relation to every other thing on the board. Well, with that said, Brawlers are very different. Brawl Stars is very different because the AI is not controlling everything you do with every character. Each character has its own movement, has its own individual person that's going to be controlling it, at least in most cases, Robo Rumble obviously being the exception there. But, every single thing that's moving on the screen is going to be controlled for the most part by an individual character. So it's very difficult compared to Clash Royale, compared to Clash of Clans, to make a replay system and make a TV system, so to speak. Getting spectating started and making that happen was a challenge in and of itself. So having a replay system, having Brawl TV definitely is a bit of an ask compared to other games that they've been introduced to. But with that said, I do think they're going to be creating it probably before the next update, probably before Global, and we'll probably see it released with Global or just with the next update. Again, I don't know if Global is going to come with the next update. If I had to guess, I would say probably, but, it's all up in the air at this point. Nobody knows for sure except Supercell themselves, and even then, I don't think they know for sure what's going to happen at this point in time. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some things that I want, but we definitely do not need for a Brawl Stars global release. First and foremost, guys, a new game mode or two. Now, I know what you're thinking. We've had a lot of game modes added already. There's quite a few things that you can do. There are people that main each game mode at this point in time, and there's a lot of different metas and nuance and everything to gameplay. Well, the thing is that Brawl Stars has pretty much one of the best systems for adding in new game modes. It has one of the best foundations for any mobile game, in my opinion, and in a lot of other people's opinions as well. I'd imagine that Supercell also thinks that, because it's just a fantastic foundation. You have really basic characters, really unique characters that all play very differently, that are thrown into a map to do a thing, okay? And they can do many different things. You can have a showdown, you can have a duo showdown, you can have bounty, you can have heist, you can have gem grab, you can take on bosses, like giant overpowered versions of these brawlers, you can take on robots in, infinite waves of battle. I mean, this is definitely something that there is infinite potential in, and there are so many things that they could do, whether it's by changing the aesthetics of the game. So, maybe instead of Robo Rumble, it's like zombie attack or something, zombie infestation or something like that. Like, I'm just throwing an idea out there, but there are so many ideas they could come up with for different game modes, for different things that you could do in the game. And I do think that it's likely, but not required necessarily, that they do add another game mode or two with the global release update. Now, I don't expect it, like I said, but would I be surprised if they did decide to add a new game mode with the global release update to go with, a few new maps on pre-existing game modes and, maybe a few brawlers? No, I would not be surprised at all. Definitely something that I'd be looking very much forward to, and I'm excited to see what the team cooks up as far as future game modes are concerned, because again, there's just so much potential. There's so much potential with this game and with what could happen down the line. And the final thing that I want to talk about, guys, merch. Now, for those of you that haven't seen it, in the latest intro screen, the latest loading screen for the start of the game, there's actually a new model of some of the brawlers, and it's really cool. It almost has like a toy aesthetic to it. You feel like you could have a literal model of it sitting in front of you on your desk. And I definitely think that it's very likely that we do see Brawl Stars merch come out, possibly on release, maybe not entirely sure. Again, this is something that I'd really look forward to. I'd really be happy about, but I definitely do not expect, because obviously Supercell likes to take a lot of time, make sure that everybody approves of their merch, make sure that it's absolutely as perfect as it can be, and just absolutely ridiculously high quality. As you've seen with Clash of Clans, with Payday, with Clash Royale. I I mean, specifically Clash Royale, I think is probably the best example of it. You know, absolutely ridiculously high quality merch. So in the same vein, Brawl Stars definitely should have some amazing merch with it. I think they can make some awesome action figures or just, you know, normal figurines that are going to be able to be put up on your desk. I think that, like, just literally taking the models that we've seen on the loading screen lately and just making that into a 3D, like, figurine would be amazing. And if they could do that with all the brawlers, they would have my wallet infinitely. Like, that would just be, that'd be it. My wallet would be gone, and I would just... It wouldn't come back. It just wouldn't come back. Let's be real here. So, yeah, merch. Definitely want it. Definitely think it'd be absolutely fantastic. You know, obviously normal merch like t-shirts and everything like that. But more specifically, brawler-related merch would be just amazing. Again, going back to, you know, a while ago, we had, like, all the different pins and badges and everything like that in one of the previous upgrade systems. It was deemed a little bit too complicated, so they shied away from it. And all of those assets would work very, very well as actual physical pins, like the same types of pins that we see with Clash Royale. You know, the limited edition gold pins are just like the normal pins that they do. And I think they're really, really cool. So I hope that something like that gets made. I hope that maybe we even get pins of, like, the brawlers themselves, their portraits. I have a lot of ideas, okay? I got a lot of ideas. They all just kind of stew in my brain as I'm thinking of things that I hope that Supercell does. You know, when I was trying to come up with this video, I was like, you know, if I was Supercell, what would I do? And, like, merch would definitely be up there on my list of things to make before global release happens. With that said, obviously they want to focus more on actually getting the game out first, so I don't think that they're going to be coming out with merch, but dudes, I would absolutely love if they did. And now for the final thing that I wanted to talk about in this video. When will it happen? Well, I think that we're probably pretty safe in saying that the next update is going to not be this month, but probably next month or the month after that. So I'm talking about September or October. Now, I'm not entirely sure, again, and I obviously am not Supercell, so I cannot tell you guys without a shadow of a doubt what I think the actual release date is going to be, and to have any, you know, credibility past my own just knowledge of the game and how it works and how they've worked in the past. But they did not work on the game in July, and that's very important to note, that they released a big update before they went on vacation in June, and then in July they were on vacation, and now at the start of August they went back. Obviously they posted on the subreddit, everybody was excited, but they have not been working on it for a month. It does not count as a month towards, you know, a new update schedule. So the quarter that they usually have for an update has just started with the start of August, which means that we'd probably be looking at November for the next update if they went off of what they did before. With that said, I don't think that they're going to. I have a sneaking suspicion they're probably itching to make some new features, probably itching to get this thing global, get the Supercell ID in there, get maybe a couple new brawlers, maybe some new maps, maybe even a new game mode in there, and have maybe a couple new social features, whether that be replays, Brawl TV, new band features, things like that. Obviously, they've got lots and lots of ideas on the list. There's probably a ridiculous amount of notebooks absolutely filled up with things that they want to put into this game. But with that said, they obviously need to focus on certain things, and these are the things that I think they're going to be focusing on. And I mean, I'm expecting anyways a new update to be dropping sometime in September or October, probably end of September, early October. It could be late October or even early November, though. You know, I honestly have no idea what their time schedule is looking like what all of their schedules are looking like, and just generally when the game is going to be global. So, you know, it could take longer, it could be quicker with a smaller update, but still go global then, and then have another update coming like a month or two later. We have no idea how they're going to be working, but at this moment in time, I have to say end of September, early October is my prediction based off of everything that I've seen from them in the past. And, you know, being a player since literally day one, being a content creator for this game since day one, I do think that is probably going to be pretty accurate. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. I love discussing these kinds of things with you, speculating and just trying to figure out what they're going to be doing before they actually do it. I just love doing that, man. So let me know down in the comment section below, what do you think is the most important thing for them to add to the game before they go global, and when do you think we're getting a global release, or at the very minimum, the next update? And I guess if you think that global release is going to be later rather than sooner, when do you think global release is going to happen? Otherwise, though, that's going to be about it for this one, guys. Hope you all have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching and joining me on today's video. And as always, if you have any ideas for future videos, drop them down in the comment section below. Until the next one, guys, peace.